Hi, it's Dwyer. It's October 1st, 2024. GamblersAdvisory.com, a free site. BettingAngle.us, a free site. Also, always 1776.com. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. I want everyone to do their own due diligence. Nothing I say in this video should be construed as investment advice. I'm simply sharing what interests me, what I may pursue, or what I'm actually pursuing. Now, folks, artificial intelligence is a game changer. I don't believe every innovation is worth the hype. This one is. Right? Let me just say, in that space, Meta is moving fast. Meta's Llama, that's Llama. Again, that's Llama, is its large language model for artificial intelligence. And believe it or not, it's open source with some restrictions. For example, Llama 3.1 allows developers and researchers to download and use it for free. Meta, by the way, has recently released Llama 3.2. For more information, visit www.llama.com. That's www.llama.com. Let me also make a point here. I am not paid to publicize any particular company. I understand Google embeds ads in my videos, and thank God they do. They make the videos possible. But I have no financial arrangement with Meta, right? I have in the past at different times owned Facebook, which became Meta, right? But just understand, I'm not being paid by Meta for this video. I'm simply a consumer. I'm simply an investor, right? So what I'm trying to do here is to just talk about intriguing ideas that other consumers and investors, perhaps YouTube creators, might be interested in. Now, just understand what Meta's decision to make portions of Llama open source means to me is that artificial intelligence, AI, is going to increase in quality exponentially. You can currently have AI translate your text into pictures. You soon will be able to have AI translate your text into very short length videos that over time, as the technology increases and as the bandwidth of the internet increases, in time you'll be able to have AI translate your text into full-length movies. Imagine how this is going to impact Hollywood. Imagine how this is going to impact filmmakers. Let me also point out that I expect artificial intelligence over time, be aware all the time of the long-term trends, to become a commodity. You won't need the latest artificial intelligence models to greatly improve your efficiency. But note that all of this development is costly. OpenAI admits that it has lost billions of dollars. Now just imagine you have a groundbreaking technology that requires market participants, we'll call them my favorite word, players, with enough capital to lose billions of dollars while developing it. You can imagine the fundraising, the Series A, where you're in the room and you're hearing that the technology you're investing in has lost billions of dollars, and no one leaves the room. People want to invest. They understand the promise. So what does all of this mean to me and you, Joe Public investor? It means that you want to get Meta in your portfolio. It means that you want to get some of the other players in your portfolio. The people who have enough capital and have enough understanding where they can know that OpenAI by the end of the year will probably have lost, in terms of its operating budget, $5 billion, and who understand that the investment is still worth it because of the upside for the technology. Now let me double back to Meta. If you go right now to meta.ai, that's meta.ai, you will have an opportunity to run searches on whatever subject matter you choose, free of cost. Right? The system might at times not be able to handle your search request. What do you care? It's free of cost. Rather than just talk about artificial intelligence, let's kick the tires right here. Now, let me point out that meta.ai is not alone. You can do these searches on Microsoft Copilot. You can do these searches on Google Gemini. Right? Just understand, if you download Opera web browser, you can actually do AI searches on Opera. On all of these platforms, you can have them create pictures. Convert your text into a picture. Right? Just understand that. So, on meta.ai, you can ask the platform to create pictures for you. Again, all of this is free. The space is moving so fast that what we consider to be cutting edge just a few months ago is free for the unconnected. It's free for anyone to use. Well, let's get daring. Today, on the free site, meta.ai, ask Meta to create a video for you. Folks, it'll then create a picture. But you'll see a button. The button will say animate. If you hit the button, you can actually have your picture move a little bit. Believe it or not, you can download that. It'll download as an MP4 video. So off text, you're able to create a picture that actually moves. It's kind of like a GIF, right? GIF. Well, put bluntly, if you're wowed by that, just understand the technology today, and this is the free level. This isn't what today is the cutting edge level, where you can do several seconds of video. Today, the technology right now is ahead of people's expectations. Right? I expect you to be able to, and I believe this will be commonplace, create short clips. You might even be able to put your name in what you create, as I have done in the background here with my AI created background. So, I believe in the general economy we're headed to a recession. You know you're headed to a recession when you have this much malinvestment in the economy. Right, folks? The money right now tied up in housing is counterproductive, isn't it? Don't you, unless you own a house and you're paying an arm and a leg for it, don't you actually want some of that money to be freed up? In part so young people can afford their own houses. In part so that money can be used for more productive ventures. There's a guy, Nick Gurley, he's excellent, here on YouTube, Reventure Consulting. And he's walking around neighborhoods, and he'll walk in front of a house owned by Blackstone. Right? And he'll point out that Blackstone is selling the house at a loss. That's where the real estate market right now is. Right? I have a real estate blog, housing777.blogspot.com. I encourage people to go to that site and just take a look at the real state of the housing market. Well, let me tell you, every Nick Gurley video that I see where he points out that Blackstone owns several residences in a neighborhood, right? That's where we are, folks. You know, these hedge funds are now coming in and they're buying houses, right? Well, now the smart ones are selling the houses. They're even taking losses on it. I'm thrilled to hear that. Why? Because it means that the money's coming out of an unproductive, oversubscribed part of the economy, and it's going into the other things that BlackRock's doing, right? Like Bitcoin ETFs, right? That's where I want the money going. I want the money going to the productive parts of the economy. Right now, you have a lot of money coming out of index funds, right? Passive investing, where people are just investing in parts of the economy, whether or not those parts are making money or not, distorting the market. And they're going into actively managed funds. They're going into ETFs. You even have single stock ETFs now that promise to give you more than a one-time rate of return on the stock you're interested in. Right? The ETF is in the option market. Just understand where we are now. So people are focusing on things like price earnings multiples. They understand a lot of the economy is going to go the way of commercial real estate right now in places like San Francisco. Right? They understand there have been structural changes. Right? There's a rebellion out there right now because Amazon wants its workers, my goodness, to actually return to the office. Right? Some people are saying, hey, that's it for me at Amazon. Right? Other employers are looking around and they're realizing, wow, you got a lot of talented people who want to work from home. Right? So in this world, which is changing rapidly, what I want to say is that in the AI space, that has a huge moat around it, right? Again, folks, you have to be able to learn that OpenAI has lost billions of dollars and still be interested in the space. You have to realize that Meta, which is well financed itself, right? Think about how much of the world is on Facebook. Think about how much of the world is on Instagram. Right? You have to realize that Meta's in the space and they're giving away stuff for free through open sourcing. Right? Just understand in this world, because of the power of AI, Meta, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, they are all excellently positioned. Now I can listen to value investors and they can say, wow, you know, based on earnings, these tech companies are expensive. Now I can buy that. Or I can be a growth investor and I can think to myself, well, wow, which market am I going to invest in? The market that exists today or the market that's going to be here in 2 years? If I've fooled around with AI and I've thought to myself, you've got to be kidding. This technology, off a few sentences, can create book chapters. This technology, off of a sentence, can create a background, can personalize the background. It can create videos. And the companies are well capitalized, and the people investing in the companies have both eyes wide open. Well, let's get wild here. If you are intimidated by the multiples, if you are into demographics, and you realize that technology crosses cultures, in other words, if the English-speaking world is interested in AI, you realize, you know what, the Spanish-speaking world might be interested in AI. If you're one of these people who has profited off Mercado Libre, and you were led to Mercado Libre by Amazon's success, you realize that online retailing had a lot of promise. Then you realize that you had the Spanish-speaking world and Mercado Libre taking Amazon's successful business model into the Spanish-speaking world. If you've made a mint, if you realize that the Mandarin-speaking world, the Swahili-speaking world, might benefit from AI, if you have the same thought process that the Bitcoin people have, where they see Bitcoin, they say, my goodness, this is a great store of wealth. Right? You're thinking, my goodness, this is a great means of exchange. My goodness, this is a great way around fiat currency debasing governments. And then you're looking at Africa. You're seeing more than 1 billion people. You're seeing a lot of fiat currency debasing governments out there. You're seeing a lot of people in a public square conducting business, capitalists, merchants, and you're seeing them able to do so using a phone. You realize the Lightning Network is able to close the transaction quickly. You're realizing that your phone can be your accounting system. You have a blockchain with a registry of transactions. Right? You realize that you don't have to be dealing with, a lack of security. That you can make your fingerprint be your login. So even if someone robs your phone, you can get another phone. They're not going to be able to tap into your transactions. If you translate that Bitcoin mindset, right, where people are at airports and they know as long as they have their numbers in their head, their phrasing in their head, they can recreate their Bitcoin holdings. If you translate that into AI, if you understand that the Mandarin-speaking world is going to benefit greatly from AI, which is going to be as endemic a part of their economy as AI is going to be here in the United States, and if you understand the real long-term consequences of the effort being made foolishly, in my opinion, I don't want to pull the punch, by the American government, by the powers that be, to try to restrict the NVIDIA chips that are being shipped to China. If you understand that all that's going to do is going to lead to China developing their own chips, having more freedom, the United States having less control, right? If you understand all that, then you recognize that the similarly situated businesses in China, when I say similarly situated, I mean situated like Meta is situated in the United States, like Google is situated in the United States, right? Like Amazon is situated in the United States, like Microsoft is situated in the United States. If you've figured out that you're getting better multiples right now As Michael Burry, by the way, famed investor here in the United States, has figured out. As David Tepper, famous investor here in the United States, has figured out, if you realize that you're getting better multiples with Alibaba and Baidu, folks, you want to be in those too. Right? Hell, if you feel that the multiples are the same, you want to be in those too because they're well positioned with high brand equity in Asia. Right? Understand, I don't need the latest chip to create groundbreaking technology. Right? Let me also make another point too. You know, if you've ever been overseas and then you're hearing music from the United States and you realize that it's impossible, literally it's impossible to stop the spread of valued items, then you'll realize that it's preposterous for me to believe that NVIDIA chips, the high end, that are commercially available in the United States aren't going to make their way to Asia, aren't going to be reverse engineered. Understand, some of these sanctions and some of these legal setups are really just to placate the public. Right? In actuality, you and I know in China they already have the latest NVIDIA chip. But if they need to put on a dog and pony show and develop their own chip, well, that's what they've done already. Right? So if you believe in AI, think internationally. Think about future markets, right? China, of course, more than 3 times the size of the United States. Now, let's go one step further. I held up this before. My smartphone. This is going to become a relic. You understand that because we already have prototypes out there of smart glasses. Right? You remember Google's famous smart glasses from a few years ago that deal in the world of augmented reality. Right? Well, Meta now has Ray-Ban looking glasses. They call it Orion. Right? That's going to hit the market, folks, in the coming years. The prototype already exists. It's a little too expensive. It costs more than $10,000. But you and I understand that these prices are going to drop dramatically, just like everything drops. Right? Think about cell phones, not even smartphones. Think about cell phones. I remember being in line at a club, and I remember the bouncer was carrying a briefcase. This was years ago in Santa Monica. And of course, he was on the phone, and back then we thought it was hyped. I remember Detective Tutolo, back then he called himself Ice-T, made a hip-hop cut where he said, you know, cellular, got to have a phone when I'm in my car. And the people I was with, when I heard that song for the first time, they all went, oh! Right? Because the idea of a car phone was just beyond the pale. Right? Now, who has a car phone? Now, anybody in the car can get a call and can take out the phone. Now, multiple people in the car can take out the phone and make calls. They can text people. You don't even have to be heard in your car. You can text people and have conversations. Well, understand what's going to happen to this. People are going to start wearing glasses. Why? I'm online. I meet someone online. I'm going to meet her at a restaurant. I'm wearing augmented reality glasses. I can show up at the restaurant. I can pull up a side picture of what she looks like. Let's say it's a blind date. Right? I can then find her while we're talking, having dinner. I can then shuffle through emails she sent me so I know what we've discussed. Worse yet, we're talking about future dates. She has on her own set of glasses. we're both going through different restaurant websites based on the conversation that we've had. Right? Understand there's a video component that exceeds the capability of current smartphones. Folks, you're going to have smart glasses. They're going to become a commodity. Understand Meta is already into space. Understand, just like AI is expensive, augmented reality is expensive. Apple came out with their augmented reality goggles. People thought the price was too high. Understand, that's just the first round of prices. You're going to get more capability, just like you have now in every new generation of smartphones. You're going to get more capability. The goggles themselves are going to become glasses. You're going to start relying on augmented reality. Regular reality won't be enough. You'll be having a meal with someone, and you'll be lamenting the fact that you don't have your smart glasses with you. So you can't pull up what they're discussing. Right? I mean, folks, I'm just telling you, you need to think about the future, not the multiples. You need to think about the economy 2 years from now, not where it is right now. Right? I have don't use it, but I have a real estate broker's license. And a friend came up to me, guy lives a different part of the state, Southern California, and he said, "Hey man, I'm moving, I need to sell my house. I want you to sell my house for me." Right now, I'm not in that game to that extent. The problem too is I'm in Northern California. What would I be doing selling a house in Southern California? So I said to the guy, I said, "Hey man, given your time constraints, why don't you consider selling it through Open Door?" The guy had no idea what I was talking about. Right? I had to explain to him that Open Door could sell him his house in a week or less. Right? He lives in Irvine, let's say desirable neighborhood in Orange County. Right? And I was telling him, I said, "Hey, the world has changed." Right? So he was then telling me, he did some research. This was later. He decided to go with a local broker, and that the local broker, of course, he thinks the local broker is a disinterested party. He said the local broker thought that he'd be leaving thousands on the table using Open Door. Right, folks? Come on, let's be smarter than that. You need to keep abreast of market developments. You need to realize the extent to which things are changing. Right? Sure, at the very high end, if I'm selling a $5 million house, okay, maybe I need personalized attention. Right? Just like if I'm looking for that 5-star hotel, a certain view, etc., maybe I want to get personalized attention. But you and I understand, if all I need to do is to be by the water, maybe Trivago will help me. Well, my point to you is AI is becoming a commodity. Right? Just like, with all respect to brokers, just like buying and selling real estate, AI is becoming a commodity. The people in the space, right, with, the capital to invest in AI, to invest in AR, augmented reality, right? Folks, understand, there are only a few players who can do that in every country. You need to consider having skin in their game. Let me close by saying this. Like many of you, I used to have a big clunky cable box. Right? It was costing me good money. Right? I was paying over $100 a month to get certain services. Right? Then, of course, streaming came along. Right? Netflix jumped the fence. They went from being a CD rental company to actually streaming. Right? I remember at first I thought, wow, Netflix doesn't have the kind of exhaustive library that I'd like, selection that I'd like, right? Then, of course, they kept growing. Then we had other streaming companies. So Amazon got in the game, right? You had Amazon Prime, they started offering you Freevee and stuff like that. And of course, there was Crackle, and of course, there was Tubi. If you're in the space, you know what I'm talking about, right? They started offering free stream opportunities. Right now, I was one of these people who got into YouTube TV. Right, I'm into sports. I need to see my sports live. So I'm in YouTube TV, and it's excellent. I also want to tape and stuff like that. I didn't want to deal with passive TV. Well, the other day, I've been an Amazon Prime person for years, right? The other day, I was on Amazon Prime, and I thought, let me go check out their free offerings. Right now, I'm someone with subscriptions to Disney, Apple, etc. Right? I was checking out Amazon's free listings before it was very limited. I was so shocked. I was so shocked by how vast they were that I realized that, man, there has to be a big part of the population that's completely satisfied with the free offerings. I'm into true crime. I started watching the free offerings. Right? I started thinking, you know what? Let me see what they have on the free version here. And of course, it's extensive. It's encyclopedic. Right? What you're going to have are streaming services starting to cut prices. I know they're raising prices because of our debased dollar. But as Bitcoin takes hold and we actually start having not currency but money, right? Relative to Bitcoin, these streaming services are going to start dropping in value. I know if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Right? Just understand what Jeff Booth is talking about in terms of technology being deflationary is already here. So I need to have people on meta.ai just look at how the here and now is. Right? As you invest, don't just think of Meta, Google, Microsoft, and Amazon when you think of AI, right? And of course, the private offerings available only to accredited investors, right? OpenAI, for example, right? Don't just think of them. Think of the entire ecosystem, including, of course, digital data centers, but then think internationally of similarly situated companies like Alibaba and Baidu, and then think of the similarly situated companies in the ecosystem to our digital data centers, and of course, their energy needs. Right, folks? Modular atomic energy plants are going to spread like wildfire all throughout the globe in the coming years. Those are my thoughts. Let me hear yours in the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by.